Sometime in 2012, I got the bright idea to make a documentary about the sport of weightlifting in the US, possibly the least popular sport in the country. So, not exactly a film the general public was clamoring for, but we were already building a business on something no one cared about, so why not? Really, the only problem was that I had zero experience with filmmaking, no suitable equipment, and no money. So the editing software I had was Final Cut Express. It was like the free version of the real thing that just came with Macs and was just stripped down with bare minimum functionality. The cameras I had at the time were a digital SLR that only shot stills, and the video camera I had shot interlaced 480 on mini DV tape. So in other words, a quarter of the resolution that's considered normal now, and it was digital, but it was on tape. Most of the video creators I know these days have never captured video from tape to edit in their lives, and probably half of them don't even realize that that was a thing. Like, that's how you used to have to get footage from your camera. Bought a wireless lav mic, got a cheap tripod, and I made a reflector by gluing the windshield sun protector from my truck onto a piece of foam board because I couldn't afford lights. And that was the whole setup initially. Partway through the process, I was able to buy a camera that shot the original HD 1080p format. So, I thought it was pretty big league then. Flew around the country, mostly West Coast, because that's what I could afford, and those are the coaches I knew personally for the most part. Interviewed some great coaches, shot lifting footage in their gyms, and then did my best with my very vague working knowledge of how documentaries worked to piece something together that I hoped would be interesting to someone other than just me. And obviously I couldn't afford to license real music. I couldn't even afford lights and cameras. Aside from an intro and outro song that I found for dirt cheap on one of the early royalty-free websites, I scored the rest of it myself, although to be fair, that's a pretty generous term for what I did. I knew enough to shoot all the footage from the start in 24 frames to make it look more cinematic. But the problem I discovered way too late was that the free Final Cut software could only edit in 30 frames. So not only did that mean I wasn't getting 24 frame footage, but that it actually looked even worse than if I had just shot it in 30 because the bad frame rate conversion, and plus the fact that it was shot some of it in 480i and some in 1080p. So, it was a bit of a train wreck, but I just did whatever I could after the fact to make it look less video-y. But more than 10 years later, I'm still bitter about it. Especially, these days, like the cameras, the editing software, all the things I needed to do a completely professional job are just normal, affordable, consumer-level products that every 11-year-old YouTuber has. I mean, I could have shot that thing on the current iPhone and it would have looked more professional than it did using, the gear that I had available at that time. So anyway, I did what I could to put together a final product that I could at least live with. We did a premiere at a small theater in the Bay Area in November 2013. Put it out on DVD. It was on a few streaming platforms, still is on some. And it definitely didn't make us any money, but it was a good experience. And I'm glad I was the first to do it, if nothing else. I'm glad I got it done. And after 10 years, I just put it on YouTube for free. So now everyone can sit there and watch it and complain about the resolution from their filmmaking capable phones.